All right, let's talk about a huge shift that's happening right now in the crypto world. We're zeroing in on meme coins, specifically on one of the biggest blockchains out there, BNB chain. Because things are getting way faster, a lot noisier, and believe me, the old rules, they just don't apply anymore. So let's get right into it.
And that really brings us to the big question here. The one question every single trader should be asking themselves. What happens when the biggest player in the game kinda steps away from the meme coin scene?
So, where did all this start? Well, it kicked off with a really public move from the biggest crypto exchange on the planet, Binance. They basically came out and drew a massive line in the sand.
Okay, so here's what went down. This whole thing blew up after a token, they're calling it a screenshot coin, went viral. Someone faked a screenshot to make it look like it had an official Binance endorsement. Yeah, not great. So Binance leadership had to come out, and they were super clear about it. Our employees are not launching tokens, they're not promoting them, we're out. They're officially putting distance between themselves and this stuff.
Now, this is a really important distinction to get. On one side, you've got Binance, the company, the corporation. They need to keep a clean, regulated image, right? But on the other side, you have the BNB chain. That's the ecosystem. And that, my friends, is a totally different beast. It's wild, it's chaotic, it's driven by the community, and it moves at lightning speed. Binance is making it crystal clear. We are not the same thing.
Okay, so a big company makes a decision. What does that actually mean for you, the trader, on the ground? Well, it creates a pretty big dilemma.
The bottom line is this. The training wheels are off. Seriously, you can't look for those little hints or those "maybe they endorsed it" signals from the big exchange anymore. Binance is literally shouting from the rooftops that it's on you now. Assessing these super high-risk tokens, that responsibility is shifting right back to you.
And doing it all on your own is tougher than it's ever been. I mean, we're talking about dozens, sometimes hundreds of new tokens launching every single hour. Scammers are still out there trying to slap the Binance brand on their junk to look legit. And of course, there's the constant threat of rug pulls, where the devs just vanish with everyone's money. Just scrolling through social media hype? Yeah, that's not going to be enough anymore.
But here's where it gets really interesting, the crazy part. Even with Binance taking a step back, and with all these risks we just talked about, the actual activity on the chain isn't slowing down. No way. It's actually heating up. That's right. The engine is still humming along, maybe even revving higher than before. Liquidity is pouring in, traders are super active, and new projects are popping up and getting traction all on their own. It's being driven purely by the community and that raw on-chain momentum.
And when you look closely, you can start to see some clear patterns emerging. We're seeing a much higher speed of new token launches. The big money players, the whales, are jumping in and creating liquidity pools way faster. And there's this huge wave of retail participation, especially from places like Southeast Asia. All of this is fueling a brand new generation of projects with just explosive potential.
And this is why everyone is paying attention. The potential for those 10x, even 100x returns, that's the siren song drawing all this capital and all these traders into the ecosystem. It's the absolute definition of high risk, high reward.
And this quote right here, it just perfectly sums up the new reality. Success in this market comes from reading the chain, not reading the headlines. The whole game has shifted. It's not about trying to guess what the news means anymore. It's about understanding the raw data, what's actually happening on the blockchain right now. Which brings us to the solution, right? If you can't trust the headlines, you need a different kind of edge, and that edge is all about data. You absolutely need sophisticated tools to see what's really going on under the hood. So, the million-dollar question for pretty much every trader out there. How do you find those gems before the rest of the crowd piles in? Because if you're waiting to see it on social media, you're probably already late to the party.
The answer is tech that has its eyes glued directly to the chain. Think of it like a super early warning system. These modern platforms can spot a new token contract the very second it's created, or the instant that first bit of liquidity gets added. This can give you a peek at the market, minutes, maybe even hours before the general public has any idea what's happening.
Okay, so let's say you found a new token early. Great, but what's the next critical question? It's who else is buying? Are the big, savvy players, what we call the smart money, are they getting in on this too?
This is where on-chain tracking becomes your superpower. Seriously, the right tools let you see things most people miss. Are the whales starting to buy up a big position?
Is the creator of the project putting more of their own money in? Do you see a whole cluster of wallets suddenly buying aggressively? These are massive signals of momentum that you will never see on a simple price chart.
But, of course, with all this opportunity comes a ton of risk. Finding the winners is only half the battle. Avoiding the scams and the rug pulls, that's just as important. So how do you protect yourself from getting burned?
This is basically what a modern safety checklist looks like. And the best platforms are building these checks right into their tools. So with a click, you can scan for red flags in the contract code. You can see if just a few wallets own almost all the supply, which is a huge warning sign. You can verify that the liquidity is locked so the devs can't just run away with it. And you can even look at the creator's past wallet history to see if they have a shady track record. It's all about due diligence, but supercharged.
Okay, so let's pull all of this together. We've talked about the problem, we've looked at the risks, and we've seen how data can give you an edge. So what does the new playbook for trading meme coins on BNB chain actually look like?
Here's the #1 takeaway. The game has completely changed. As this ecosystem gets faster and just way noisier, having a reliable, fast, on-chain data edge isn't just a nice little option to have. It is absolutely essential. It's about survival, and it's about success.
And that's where we'll leave it, with this one final thought. The next big wave of opportunity is forming right now. It's not on social media feeds, it's happening on-chain. And the only question that really matters is, do you have the tools to see it coming before everybody else does?